Hey, good evening. We are live, I believe, Sunday, the 16th of November. I keep trying to move on a day or something, got my dates mixed up this week. But we will also just give people hopefully a chance to join us. But this is our usual time slot, 7:30 on a Sunday evening. So hopefully you've got it saved. Hopefully you're getting notified and you're joining us. So, top of the headlines tonight is the Withdraw the Children's Wellbeing in Schools Bill petition, which is now to be debated on the 1st of December. This is Michelle's petition that she put forward, so I'm going to hand over to her to talk a little bit about what will be happening on the 1st of December.
Right, so on the 1st of December, we've got the debate in Parliament. It's in the Westminster Hall chamber, which is slightly smaller than the normal Commons chamber. There is a public gallery, but it's first come, first serve. So if people want to go and watch the debate, you are free to go and watch it. But obviously, if you are too late to get there, you might not get a seat. Before the debate that day, we're having a rally, a very sort of small information-based rally with leaflets, badges, just outside Parliament. So not on Parliament Square, the other side, literally just outside Parliament, which Jade and Quiver are running that one. And that's from 1:30 till 3:30. But if you look on the Stop the Bills page, you'll see there's an event for it anyway if you want to double check the details. So I know some people are going to go to that rally and then come in with me to go and watch the debate. But the important bit about the debate is we need your MPs there talking about it. Now, I deliberately drafted this petition as wide as I could within the word limits. So it has a very specific bit about part 2. Part 2 is where home education features. It's also where the independent education providers feature. It's also where the breakfast clubs and the school uniforms feature. It's also where changes to teacher status and teacher misconduct things feature. I also included in the petition wording, because it only shows half of it here, about the inadequate assessments. So again, you can bring up with your MP education elements to get them in there. You can bring up bits about the inadequate assessments. I brought up that it's poorly drafted. I brought up that there was no robust evidence. So again, this means any part of the bill, which includes clause 4, because there's no data protection impact assessment, which is really significant with clause 4 and the data stuff in section 1, can be brought up with your MP as well. So literally, if it's anywhere within the bill, this petition covers it. And the bits of the bill that concern you the most, ask your MP to speak on. I know some MPs, for them, it's really, really important to have actual stories. So I've already had feedback from some MPs, is actually they need your stories as opposed to just blanket statements, because in these sorts of debates, they tend to try and put the meat there of the reasons why this bill will be harmful, or why the issue will be harmful. It just happens to be my one, obviously, is against a bill that's live. And so it's really important that you try and give your MPs a bit more than just normal sound bites. But equally, if you don't want to share your personal stories, there are lots of organisations briefing MPs as well. And there are lots of organisational briefings that are coming out. So if you want to add them in, that's fine. I know if you go on the Reclaim Rights for Children page, there is some stuff on there which you can add links to and say to your MP, I'm really concerned about children's data here. I know, obviously, on the action group, a few people have shared their ideas for templates to the MPs. This is one where we need to try and add some personal stories if you can, if not link to information. And there is a lot out there. But the important bit is that we get MPs in the room discussing this bill, not only for the debate that day, but also it will give an indicator. The more Labour MPs we get in there, it also gives an indicator to the government that they're not happy with their own bill. The other side of it, the House of Lords report stage hasn't started yet. So if we get some really, really good stories or sound bites in the debate, we can lift them and we can highlight them to peers. Yes, there you've got some more of the wording there. So you can see you can cover everything from the downgrading of education, you can cover parental rights, you can cover harm to children, you can cover the drafting, you can cover the lack of evidence, you can cover the impact assessments being inadequate. Well, the children's impact assessment actually confirms they didn't ask the children what their opinion or consult with them. So and we've got child's voice there, and children's rights to education, and undermines parental responsibility. So it's deliberately worded so you can pick pretty much any area of the bill and engage your MP on it and get them in the room.
And this is really, 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 really important to try and get as many MPs there as possible. Cannot emphasize that enough. So please, if you can, even if you don't think your MP will pay attention, just have a go and ask them, please, to commit to speaking on your behalf in the debate.
And the other bit is, I know some people are, well, my MP's against this. Well, as said, this is drafted really well. There's a high chance there'll be something in there your MP might not be so strong on. So they might think, well, the bill's a good idea, but they might not be happy that it's only a skeleton bill, or they might not be happy that the evidence isn't there, or they might not be happy the impact assessments aren't there. So get personal with your MP and work out what drives them and get them there. The other reason, not only for lobbying peers, it's important, is if we get amendments at report stage, they go back to ping pong. So they go back to House of Commons, where they have decisions to be made on those changes. And if we get MPs realising, which they'll be talking between each other, how poor the bill is, then hopefully any decent amendments that go through, they will be accepted. So it's not only about the debate on the day, it's about the House of Lords next stage, and then it's about potentially the ping pong stage after that. So it's really important we just get the MPs in the room and we get engaging with them.
Yeah, and we only have 2 weeks, I think, to get them to get these emails to our MPs. The sooner the better, because their diaries get full with other things. So we need to draw this to their attention. Okay, so thank you for that, Kat. Moving on. Okay.
Can I just, Trudy's put something in the comments. Well, you can go back to your MP and say nothing in this school bill enforces school attendance. That's under different legislation. So just tell your MP they need to reread the bill, because it doesn't actually do what they're telling you it will do.
Okay, Alison? Can't hear you. You're muted.
Sorry. Just a quick heads up. That's one of 3 debates that are happening. This is the most important one, but we will be reminding you of the next 2, which are on digital ID cards and the Online Safety Act coming up afterwards. So watch out for those later on. But start this conversation with your MP, get to know your MP, and then you can mither him for the other 2 later on, him or her. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We need to work on all of those. Yeah. Okay, so then next up, we are planning a really, really big rally in London on the 17th of January. You have 2 months notice. It's the 16th of November now. You have 2 months notice. 17th of January is a Saturday. Please plan now to be there. This is vitally important that as many of us as possible can be there. If you have difficulties with children, we understand not everybody can get there, but perhaps just think about going there for a short while, or making some arrangements to enable at least some family members to be there. But do plan to be there. Alongside this, we are planning, I will get Michelle in to talk about this as well, but because this rally needs to be huge, we want to get a professional stage. We're having to pay for licensing. We want a proper sound system. We want merchandise. We want lanyards and banners and all sorts of things. And so this is going to require quite a lot of money. We're asking, we do have a GoFundMe page set up. If you are able to donate anything towards this protest, particularly if you can't be there. If you can't be there, you're obviously there's you would normally have paid transport costs, so perhaps consider donating some of your transport costs that you're not going to be using to support this, so that others can be there and we can really be there in strong numbers. So Michelle, is there anything that you want to add particularly about this or embellish on?
We're going big. We're
Mm.
going big, and we have everything from media pens to we've got the full width of the road banners, professional stage and everything, because this is a last chance to show that this bill isn't good and that they need to either make significant changes or put a pause on it. But to go big, unfortunately, that costs.
If we want to do this well and catch
And
attention,
we want it so that it can be captured well for the media, which can then get the word out even bigger. And so that everyone gets a chance to have their voice properly heard, and so the numbers are properly seen.
And this is an all protesters rally, isn't it? Isn't it?
It is
just against
it's
the
not
bill.
just about home education. It's about very much like the petition covered all aspects of the bill. This covers all aspects of the bill as well. So anybody you know, if it's a teacher that you know that has a problem with something in the bill, or a childminder that has a problem with something in the bill, anybody, they're all welcome. And let's try and get as many people there.
Please share it everywhere and share with as many and encourage people to come. And it will, I can guarantee it will be a lot of fun. We do have a lot of fun, and it is it will be educational for your children. Make sure they dress up warm, make a day of it, and let's really make some impact.
And we'll start releasing the speakers gradually from the 1st of December so that people are aware of who's going to be speaking. But we're getting the debate done, and then we will start releasing some of the speakers each week so that you know who you're coming to hear.
Now, one thing at a time, but honestly, we do need you to put this in your diaries, and we do need you to commit to coming. We're a big group. If all of you can come, or at least get someone in your family to come and bring a friend, that would be fantastic. So please share
also,
everywhere.
if you think the march will be too much for you, obviously you could just start at the rally. We would love as many as possible to do the whole march and then the rally as well. But we do realise, for various reasons, some people can't do the march as well as the rally. But we'll have the details for both very clear. So you can either do the whole thing, or if for your family circumstances you can't manage the march and the rally, there'll be the details so you can just join us at the rally.
And we have to do this while we still can. We are still able to do this. There's still a gap for us to make a protest. And before that window closes, we need to get out there and make our voices heard. Thank you so much, Michelle, for all your efforts on this. But please share about that and let's make it worth all the hard work. Okay, then next we want to talk a little bit about Joy Baker Day, which we celebrated yesterday. Joy Baker was a home educator in the 50s and 60s who educated her own children, but she had to fight her local authorities many times for the right to do so. So yesterday you can see Michelle and me with my eyes closed and whatever in the video, but we did a live on YouTube and on the Joy Baker Day page where we spoke with various guests, and you can now go and watch that live either on the Joy Baker Day page or on YouTube, and the link will be in the comments. But also the great news that Joy Baker's book, Children in Chancery, is now available, and you can actually order it on Amazon now and have a copy in your hands. And just a reminder that this book was almost impossible to get hold of before, and so don't wait, get hold of a copy, have one on your shelves. There are 2 other books that you can order that are also written by Joy Baker, which are more not about the legal battle but just about the family life, and they're great essentially. So you may want to go and check those out as well. Double on Amazon or from livingbestbooks.com, I think. Okay. So Michelle, you want to talk a little bit about the Broken Voices campaign?
Yes. So the Broken Voices. So if people
should call
came
it.
to our protest up in the Senate, you'll have heard Alice speak, who is Jade's daughter. Now, Alice has found her voice this year, and made the choice herself to become home educated. And she now feels that she wants every child to be able to have their voice heard. And therefore, she started up Broken Voices, which is open now for children to submit their voices to. The details are all there. It can be stories, poems, pictures, messages, just one A4 sheet. You can use a pseudonym, you can use your real name. And then if you just submit it to them within this window, so 8th of November till the 8th of December, they're then collating it together to create a book that will then be released for people to be able to buy, hopefully, so people can give to other people for Christmas presents and things like that, if the timings all go well.
What a wonderful opportunity. So I hope people will take up this chance to get their stories out there where others can read them.
But
Okay,
can I ask what the so do you have to be a child in order to send it in, or do you have to be a child now, or should it be about your experience when you were a child? If you let's just say you've aged out of education a couple of years ago, what about that? Sorry,
I would have to look at. I would have to go back to them and ask, because I've got these details here. I would have to go back and I'd have to.
Yes, because it's not your project, of course. It's
Jade, are you in the chat today? And if you are, have you got the answer to that?
Yeah, we'll come back with that answer if we get it before the end of the show.
The end of the show.
It was said tongue in cheek, Juliet. It really was.
Yes, it is a show. Okay. I won't elaborate on that anyway. Okay, so then we have next some this Kat, perhaps you can tell me a bit more because I haven't seen this before. Are you muted still?
Or are you going to throw it to me?
Okay, so yeah, so this looks like an article. Sorry, Kat can't broadcast right now, I don't think.
Okay, well, do you want me to talk about it, Julia?
Yeah, sure.
So Professor Eileen Munro, she's been well known in the past. She's been quite a good a voice on and off. But she was the person who led the review into child protection in 2010. And to be quite honest, not a lot happened as a result of that review. But that's what often happens, is they do the reviews and then nothing really happens. But she has criticised the most recent suggestions for reform in children's social care and said that they're very, very likely to fail. Basically, she said it's too big a step. That baby steps have to be taken. That you're trying to change. You're trying to change things too much too quickly. And that there's been no testing of the changes either. And we see this again and again. We've seen this, for example, we've seen this with the Children Not in School register, etc., etc. All of these reforms that change things quite a lot. The government is not pilot testing them. It's not looking at risks. It's not doing all the things that it ought to do before it brings in large scale change. So really, it's just a reflection of the government's drive to change things without getting it right.
More importantly, Alison, it's changes that are in this bill.
Yes,
that it's talking about. That's the most important bit.
Exactly.
Two of the bits in this that are in these pilots that are not completed are already written into this bill. So even though somebody as high up as Eileen is saying, yeah, do you know what? Maybe we should wait for the results first. Maybe we should actually check this works. Yeah, they're already trying to push it into law.
Exactly. So and it's yet another thing in this bill that's not been tested properly first. That's what we're saying, isn't it, Michelle?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It looks like an interesting article to be looking at and to be sending to MPs too, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and what do we have next up, Kat? Mm. Okay, so
Excellent.
the latest amendments. Alison, I think you said you'd talk about
And no,
amendment.
I haven't looked at them. I'm afraid,
Yeah.
not me.
Okay. So I think the gist of it is, yes, there are amendments. Go and look at them. Michelle, do you have any updates?
The thing is that there is a handful of amendments that are starting to be relevant to home ed. So Lord Crisp has stuck one in there. There's the worrying bit. Obviously, Baroness Barron is trying to bring back that child in need bit. So
Yeah.
they are ones that we need to start to sort of take notice of. So we're starting to see them come in, but I'm expecting at the point they know when reports, so there's some Lord Crisp ones, at the point they know the report stage is starting, I'm sure we'll get a bigger flurry. But if you notice, he's trying to get them to, because they have to be very careful, because they've made it very clear then they don't really want to accept anything. So like with this one, after school insert and a court confirms their view, protects us from LA's just arbitrarily going, no, best interests, that the child should be in school. No, because this means that there's an extra step. There is effectively an appeal mechanism for us, because it has to be the LA and a court deciding that. They can't just on their own back saying that.
Yeah, I think there should always be some other, you kind of need it's kind of like a two-step verification in a way, but like, or having two signatures on an account. You can't trust just
and
one
then this
person's
next
judgment.
one's quite important as well, because one thing under the current system of SAOs, when you try and get the Secretary of State to revoke, it is quite hard then to get the evidence of what actual decisions have been made, if any. I know they did answer sort of 5 or 8 years ago and said they hadn't sort of done any. And I know when people have done FOIs more recently, they just don't answer. So here they'd have to have some evidence. There'd have to be guidance around things. There'd have to be time frames and things. So this is again about tightening it all up. So the Secretary of State or the Welsh ministers can't just like leave it in their inboxes. So I'm aware of one family whose children are now all adults, who's still are waiting for the Secretary of State, well, a few Secretary of States back now, to give them an answer with regards to revocation for their children. Now that they were successful and were acquitted in court, but their children still have that period of time where effectively the SAO says they weren't receiving a suitable education. So they want it officially revoked, not that it existed at any point. But they still haven't had an answer now, and they've moved where they're living and everything else and chased it. So this would be quite nice if we actually had at least had a time frame, so you knew that when you referred to the Secretary of State, you would get an answer within this period of time.
I mean,
So you're not left months later chasing.
Shows how inefficient it actually is and how unworkable it is. Yeah.
And then there's also no procedure for it.
No.
So there's no form to fill in. There's just nothing. There is no structure to it whatsoever.
No time frames.
Yeah, we've asked countless times for revocation. We've yet to receive one. I mean, it's a system that's not a system. It's
Yeah, well, it's putting everything in one person's hands as well. So there's no other.
I can't. That I don't find an issue, because in immigration it all comes under the Home Secretary and the Home Secretary that they manage, because it isn't them, because it's actually their department, and that's how the law works. But the Home Secretary gets questions referred to them pretty much on a daily basis, and they do respond within reasonable timeframes, etc., etc., because they have a process, they have protocols, they have procedures. But it's almost like they wrote it in for the Secretary of State for Education, and no one remembered that you actually might have people want to use this procedure if it exists. And they haven't sort of made any significant difference between what it is currently that doesn't work and what they're planning to do in the future. Because if it doesn't work currently and you don't make any changes, it's still not going to work.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's all just and these families are left in uncertainty. I just want to go back to the broken voices question. Is that first of all, Jade and Patience say anyone. So basically, if you have a voice, if you've been broken by the system at any point and you want to share your story, you can share it. So any experiences are welcome here. More info on why it's named Broken Voices came from something deeply personal. It's about the moments when children try to speak, but their voices are misunderstood or silenced. It's for those who have been spoken over, about, or for. My daughter has 2 brothers together. They've each faced their own challenges, and we've seen how easily children. Okay, I think there we lost that. We didn't have enough space for that full response. But basically, it's when other people are speaking over you, you don't not getting your own voice heard, and it's causing damage in your life. I think these are the stories, and that's where the name comes from.
Yeah, and the thing we do see this time and time again.
Yeah.
And people, the adults who are supposed to be trusted adults or are supposed to be looking out for children, that either talk over children or put words in their mouths, and it leads to breaking and all of the rest of it. And it's so lovely to hear from people like Jade's daughter who have found their voice and have advocated for themselves and have come out the other side. It gives hope to everybody else.
Yes, indeed. And we this whole thing of the best interests of the child, that is exactly what we will see happening, is people speaking over the child about their best interests without knowing them properly. Okay, let's get back on track. I think we have some news stories. Is that right? Yes. So ITV,
that picture. His wife told me he's horrified at that picture. It's just awful.
So ITV, that's just where it's frozen anyway. ITV interviewed Simon Squibb, who home educates his own child, and he put some of his points across of why the education system is problematic for children, and that the Children's Wellbeing in Schools Bill will actually give too much power to local authorities and undermine parents. So you might want to go and read that. You may even want to write and comment on it on their Facebook or whatever, if you, and just sort of correct, because they've also just taken some liberties with quoting people without actually asking permission and so on. So,
well, there's a couple of things that they did. First of all, they quoted Michelle and chopped and changed it and spliced it. So they did a bit of like the BBC did with Donald Trump. They did that with Michelle. And the other thing is, please don't make a big thing about the fact that Simon's using the word homeschooling. He was kind of led by the journalist. It's very difficult to bounce back from it sometimes.
He has also actually said on his page he has actually made a comment himself that it was the nerves and the way the journalist was, that
it
was ordinarily
you've just got to do the best you can. Yeah, you've got to do the best you can under the circumstances.
And it was a tough interview. It was a tough interview, and I think he did absolutely brilliantly well. I mean, do take note of the sitting position of the journalist interviewing as you're looking at it. You'll be most amused. He's almost horizontal by the time he finishes. It's very funny. So, which, maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe he didn't want to be there, that journalist, doing that interview. And that might be part of the problem.
Read the body language, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Do you have any more news stories, Kat? I think we have something from Schools Week. That right? Yeah, so this one was an interesting one because it highlighted the problem that home educated children have, being able to access exams, being at the mercy of exam centres, whether they can take them or not, and leaving families scrambling to find a place, as it said. And we don't have any sort of recourse to support for that. So it was good that this issue got highlighted. Katie Finlayson has got a comment there, and it's a useful article.
It's an article based on quite a lot of the work that she's done, and we're very grateful to Katie for the enormous amount of effort she puts into keeping her finger on the pulse of these issues.
A centre in Norfolk reported having 130 requests for 18 spaces.
Yeah.
And this
There
is
you
a problem that needs to be addressed. And the Children's Wellbeing in Schools Bill could not even be bothered with addressing this. When we actually express this is something that would help, and that it actually would be doable for them, they're not really willing to consider it. The one thing they could support with, they're not willing to support with.
And if anybody out there runs an alternative setting or anything like that and wants to set up an exam centre, they won't be able to do it for this summer, but they'll be able to do it for next summer. Please get in touch, because we've got a scheme that we're hoping to run to help people set up small centres. So if you are interested in that, let's get together and have a bit of a meeting and see if we can get something set up for the summer of 2027.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah. And also address this with your MPs. Okay, another news article which I'm quite amused by. Hull City Council seeks to understand the oral health of home educated children with a survey. So apparently they are concerned about the state of children's teeth who are home educated. Perhaps they are concerned that these children aren't being reached in other ways and getting teaching.
Can somebody tell me?
Remember, that's because they're going to be having the children's teeth brushed in school. That was one of the announcements earlier this year. So maybe that's the worry. If our children aren't in school, how are their teeth going to be brushed? It's not a case that, parents might encourage their children to brush their teeth and teach their children to brush their teeth. That seems to be
distraction tactics. It's distraction tactics, isn't it? Okay, so the schools are rubbish and the children are leaving them in droves. Let's concentrate on the thing that's really important: their teeth.
Well, this is public health wanting to hear the challenges and problems you may have encountered in relation to oral and dental health for your child or children. Now, I don't know, as a parent, home educating parent, I registered my kids with a dentist, like as you normally do. I made appointments for them as you would normally do. Taught them how to brush their teeth as you would normally do. And I mean, yes, maybe it is helpful for them to do a study. Maybe some home educating parents are struggling.
But I think in this area, looking at that, it's one of the areas where there aren't dentists, but which actually people have raised that to the government. It's like, rather than getting people's teeth brushed, make sure there's a dentist the child can be enrolled at. And there are a few areas where there just aren't any dentists where you can NHS enroll your children. So maybe that's behind it, is because they do actually say we can't control the number of dentists.
But it seeks to understand the oral health of home educated children. They want to understand the oral health. It's just a bit it's a little bit weird.
We need to see those children at any cost, We can't come through the door that way. We'll line them all up and look at their teeth.
Yeah. Anyway, interesting one. If anyone wants to go and have a look at the survey and see what it actually asks, that could be interesting. Okay. And then we, of course, want to come to the Child Safeguarding Practice Review in respect of Sarah Sharif, which has been much in the headlines and so on. I'm going to hand over to Alison to talk a little bit about this.
Okay, so this basically, when you look at the Child Safeguarding Practice Review, which they used to call them serious case reviews, so SCRs, it's the same thing. What the reviews are meant to do is it's meant to look at the case where a child has been harmed or killed and see whether there are any lessons to be learned from it. Let me just say that reading this is like a broken record from all the others that I've read. I've read probably 100, 200 serious case reviews in the last couple of years. The ones that were involving home educated children, it's like a repeated thing. They are already known to be at risk. Every single one of them is known to be at risk. Not only are they known to be at risk, they're known to be at risk by at least 5 different agencies. In this case, this child was known to be at risk from the time before she was born. So to say that she was home educated and that was the problem is absolute bunkum. And if you read this review, it will tell you that there weren't just the 15 instances that were named in court that were opportunities to save her. There were many, 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 many more. opportunities to intervene. And this is what happens time and time again. And because the last moments of her life she was allegedly home educated, home education gets to take the fall. What goes along with this, so it does actually say in there that she could have been saved. It does actually say in there,
because there were enough signs for people to act on.
loads and loads and loads and loads, more even than there were in a lot of the other cases I've read. But if we go to Bridget Phillipson's statement about the sorry Kat, Bridget Phillipson made a statement, and this makes me feel physically sick, does this? Yet again, politicians using the name of a child who has been harmed by their parents to justify bringing in legislation that would not help that child. They say, she said in here, that the findings of the review are being taken with the strongest possible seriousness, and that they're closing gaps, and the first steps are set out in the children's wellbeing and schools well. There is nothing, absolutely nothing, and I think Michelle will back me up with this, there is nothing in the bill that would have saved Sarah. What would have saved Sarah was people in their jobs doing their jobs, instead of just putting her on a list. Making yet another list of children doesn't help them. Being on a list does not help children. Actual action helps children.
Well, this is a child who was on a list at a school, seen by people every day, which is normally the big thing of like, oh, well, at least they're seen in school. Yes, you can be seen in school and still nothing will happen.
Yeah. But the other bit is in that specific review at 5.31, it specifically says, however, the key change of a national register of children educated at home would not have protected Sarah.
Exactly.
It's written in the review at 5.31. It then goes on like the local government association still thinks X, Y, and Z is required. But the review decision, not the other blurb they've added afterwards, specifically says that the register of children educated at home would not have protected Sarah. That is literally what it says in the review. But Bridget comes to her conclusion based on this review, which literally says it would not have helped.
Yeah, and
hasn't read the review. I don't think she's read the review, Michelle. I really don't think so. And then if we look at the one of the BBC articles, classic. So even whilst she was home educated, the council tried to visit her home and went to the wrong address. There are no words to forgive or explain that nonsense and to say that it's the problem of home education. No words.
Yeah, and it's there are many people that turned a blind eye. I didn't want to be accused of being racist or whatever, but they saw something going on, and I was really, really shocked and appalled by Bridget Phillipson's reaction, because she just glosses over and just gets back to her ventriloquist dummy children's wellbeing and schools bill. That's back to that parroting the party line.
The other bit is if the school had notified the local authority that they'd moved house and given them a new address. So if the specific form from the school, that is the school notifying the local authority this child is now home educated, has the right details, but the home education team go to the old address or the wrong address, doesn't matter if you implemented everything in this bill. That error could still happen and it wouldn't make any difference. So until we fix these basic things of making sure you update an address when you get given it, which is not the fault of the parent, is not the fault of the home educated child or any other family, that's just basic data management. So
can I just say
they've got, and this is giving them more data and more sharing and more. It's like
so joining up the databases, some of which will have erroneous information on them, is not going to help. In fact, it's actually going to make things worse.
Yeah. No, it's I think this is there is something just so very wrong with the way I don't know what you would call it but basically with this total unwillingness to accept the truth and just barge on regardless with your bill, because that's so important to you, because you've got everything hanging on that as a career politician.
Yeah, at this
and
point, the only
shocking.
justification I think she's got for continuing with this bill is to further her career.
Yeah. Anyway, and then we just also want to remind you that we have our Substack, which you can subscribe to receive all the notifications and more. You will find a link in there about another open letter which has been created by Reclaim Rights for Children. So that will be mentioned in the Substack. Do go and have a look at that as well. And yeah, that I don't know if any of you know more about that, give a bit more information on that open letter, but that is also available for you to go and sign. But at the moment, we are focusing on the 1st of December debate. That is our primary.
Connected to that letter is that the other petition that's not a government petition.
Yeah,
so
the
do
change.org one.
Go check that out. It's a change.org petition. Go check that out. Make sure you've signed it. It's not connected with the other petitions.
Yeah. But you can sign as many as you like. Many of these petitions that are against the bill, that are going to bring it to debate, whatever, sign as many of them as you can. It doesn't take you long. We need to support any and every endeavor to undermine the efforts to introduce digital ID for children, to undermine parental responsibility, to restrict our freedoms and that kind of thing. So
and if you're not sure whether you've signed a petition or not, go and try and sign it again, because it will not let you sign it twice. So better to have a second dib at it than go, oh, I'm not sure, so I'm not going to bother.
I did one this week and it said to me, you've already signed it. So okay, fine, fair enough. And then I think I got about 3 notifications for the other one, for your debate, Michelle, because obviously I used a few different email addresses for that one. So yeah, anyway, but do go and sign up for the Substack. The link should be in the comments. That way you will get all the news up to date in your inbox Monday morning if you missed this live. And anything else before we finish off?
Just everyone make a note of the dates for the different protests and rallies happening. If you're someone who is available in those dates, could steward or help out in any way, if you give us a shout out, so that we can then put you in touch with whoever that is leading that particular team doing that, because we always need more stewards and we always need more people and feet on the ground.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's give it everything. Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you again next Sunday, 7:30 p.m. as usual. Don't forget to join us.
Bye.